Welcome to Sullivan Smart Sense. I'm Heather Sullivan. Today we are going to talk about preparing for a hurricane, but not in the way that we're always talking about having food and, an emergency plan and all of that. Today we're going to talk about money because you really need to be financially prepared if your community is hit by a hurricane. Maybe your power is going to be out for a while. Maybe you've got damage to your home. Maybe you can't access your money because the power is out. So we're going to talk about all of that, how to be ready to minimize all of the stresses that you have to deal with and help you ride through the storm, so to speak. So today we are joined by Whitney Hancock. We have Randall Rojas. Whoops, let me click him on here. We got Randall Rojas and also Jessica Smith from, Hancock Whitney. I reversed it there. Hancock Whitney. Thanks so much for both of you for being with us.
Heather, thank you for having us. We appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so first, I want to just give you a little bit of time to talk a little bit about Hancock Whitney. Tell us about what you do, because I know you guys really step in and help out. You've done that when several hurricanes have hit.
Well, I think Hancock Whitney being a Gulf bank, hurricane preparedness and just hurricane itself, it's kind of embedded into our DNA, unfortunately, right? So when this time of year pops around, we're kind of ready to step up. One of the things that sets us apart from most banks is we have 2 mobile units. So big, large trucks, mobile, full banking units. And so we're able to utilize those in areas that are affected without power, closures, and that sort of thing. And that way we can step in and customers can do all their banking needs without any stop.
Yeah, I'm showing a picture of one of your mobile units. I believe this was a picture of you guys stepping in to help folks here in Houston after Hurricane Harvey. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to come into the scene and start to help people, and what kinds of things you help people with on the ground?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I think, the most pressing need is always water, have snacks, and offer the financial services that you're used to, right? On a regular banking transaction, you want to be able to walk in, have access to your money, have access to your accounts. Things that you take for granted every day, like having internet access, having lights, having power, that sort of thing is the first thing to go when hurricanes come. So we try to offer those type of services as soon as, we're able to in the case of emergencies. Jessica here runs all our retail centers, so she can talk a little bit about some of the things that we do at a retail level so that customers don't have any gaps in between their financial needs.
Yeah, so my name is Jessica Smith. I'm the retail sales leader here for the South Texas market. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that our clients are taken care of, both on the online banking and mobile banking platforms. We offer a variety of services from online banking to early pay to Zelle. So any of the financial services that you need to take care of at your fingertips is available to you. Our branches, they're also ready for manual processes. So if anything from cash needs to transfers, we're available to help. We just ask that you get those denominations early in small denominations so that it's easier to cash whenever you need that. And we also have a very good platform when it comes to lending services on our online banking. You can apply for new accounts, you can apply for loans, anything that you need for emergency purposes.
And people might wonder, what if they're not a Hancock Whitney customer at the time of the hurricane? They can still come to you and get some help for some types of things, right?
Correct. We have some processes in place where folks can come in and, get some small denominations and cash and whatnot. We understand that, in the case of a hurricane, right, we're a community, we're a family. So, names and colors and that thing, they don't mix. We want to be able to help the community, if Houston at large. Like I said, we're throughout the Gulf Coast. So Mississippi, Louisiana, New Orleans, Houston, everybody's affected during hurricane seasons. And so we're able to transcend borders and able to help everybody else.
Yeah, it's so awesome that you guys do that. Well, let's talk about how people can start being financially prepared for a hurricane or really any disaster that might hit. What are the first things people should be doing right now?
Well, Heather, I think primarily you want to get all the financial documents in your home and get those scanned. So a variety of ways of doing that. Obviously, we're able to provide that service for some of our clients, but you can take it to Kinko's, some local stores, Office Depot, get those electronically filed either in a fob or a disk, or now you have the cloud, right? So you can save it into your digital folders. That's the most important things: wills, deeds of trust, anything to do with your home, cars, things that you can't lose. Also, pictures. I think people forget about your very sentimental pictures, family pictures. Get those digitized as well, because in an event of a hurricane, water comes up very, very quickly, and water is probably the most destructive phase of a hurricane. And so we forget about those type of things like the paperwork. Also, like Jessica mentioned, getting cash, having small denominations. You want to make sure you get a lot of small bills so you're able to transact even when stores open. Sometimes our electronic system is down for days, even weeks. So you want to be able to have some cash on hand. And then, primarily sit down with your insurance, sit down with your bankers, sit down with the different folks that you have available to you to discuss those plans and those coverages in your home, so you're prepared when things like that come about.
Let me ask you too, because one of the things I think can be really helpful is you want to also be prepared about people you can reach out to. And again, maybe your phone, you're not able to charge it, that kind of thing. But having like, phone numbers of people in outer lying areas that aren't affected by the storm that you can reach out to for help, or that kind of thing. How can people maybe kind of prepare to gather some of that information so that they're also not going, oh no, they're all in my phone and my phone doesn't work?
Yeah, I think having a list and maybe keeping that into maybe not a folder, but have it not only digitized, but have it laminated, and having like a small pad laminated with important phone numbers, your insurance agent, your family members that you're able to reach. Also, phone numbers or places where you have a plan of attack to go to, because I think that's one of the things that you want to make sure you have in place is a plan of where to go if your home is affected, if you're not able to stay. Sometimes we think of neighbors and friends, but if your whole area is affected, places where you can be at, and then make sure your family members know those places so they're able to reach you in a case of emergencies.
Yeah, great ideas. Jessica, let me ask you, how much money do you think, like how much do you recommend someone have on hand in terms of cash? And let's kind of maybe think through what are some of the things that you might need to use cash for that, we don't think about using so often anymore because we're always just using our phones or our credit cards to pay for things.
Absolutely. What I highly recommend is just having money for the essential needs like water, gas, to get around, to get out of the city if that is the case. Just having enough cash to get a hotel room. So whatever you think that you need for you and your family, and if you're just a single family, you probably need maybe 500. If you have a family of four, maybe 2,000, 2,500. Just something to get you somewhere and safe, and obviously be able to provide those necessities for your family: water, food, all of those things that you would need on a daily basis, just to get you through maybe 3 or 4 days until you're back into the city again.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about, we started talking about, reviewing insurance documents, but what kind of questions should people be asking of their insurance agent to make sure that they're properly financially covered if their home or property is damaged?
Well, I think you definitely want to go item by item and talk to your insurance agent about what coverage exactly is in your home. A lot of times we see that bill monthly or annually, however you pay it, and we just kind of pay and we assume we have insurance, right? But we rarely dissect the coverages and the types of things that are covered by the insurance. And so the questions to ask is wind and water covered? And what does that entail? Insurances are very specific. So sometimes whether the water comes from above or below, believe it or not, is a thing in your insurance. So you want to make sure that you're covered if water rises, or if, for example, your roof caves in and water comes from above. So getting those itemized list of what exactly the coverages And furthermore, just, what if you have to take those coverages in action? What does that process look like? How long does it take? Is your insurance company offering temporary help, or maybe what we call a bridge loan or bridge effect, where they cover things up front and then they come back and kind of wrap around? Those things are the main things to understand.
What kind of apps do you think people should maybe download ahead of time, whether it's a banking app, insurance, FEMA? Some of those can be really helpful to have that information handy so you can start communicating.
Well, I think most news channels like yourself offer a great variety of weather applications. So definitely download your app, because that keeps you up to date with not only weather, but it gives you links to FEMA. It gives you links to government help. The city of Houston does a fantastic job of coming to the rescue for citizens. Obviously we saw that during Harvey. And one thing you need to understand is all branches of government act separately during a storm. So you have the federal government, the state government, the city government, and you can even boil down to the actual county government. And so you want to make sure you understand those types of websites and download those apps so that you know what help is out there. I know, just speaking personally from Hancock Whitney, during the last hurricane, we were able to provide water, and we were able to link up with Baker Ripley, which is a local nonprofit organization, to distribute that water. So a lot of those things go on during disaster areas, which is great. I mean, I think, we're probably one of the best examples of how a city should come together and act during a time of need. Yeah, definitely your local news, your banking app, the local government, and the state government app.
And let's talk about saving in an emergency fund. How much money should people be trying to set aside for something like this? And any tips to help you? Times are so tight for folks right now. So any tips on helping people try and find a little extra money to set aside?
Well, I think, like Jessica mentioned, everybody's needs are different, right? Depending on your family size and what you want to accomplish. But I think, looking at your local grocery bill, right, and what you spend on that, maybe take a third of that and save it every month and put it into a nest egg. Definitely utilize some of your banks to have a savings account. You don't want to keep that type of stuff around your house because, again, it's paper, and at the end of the day, if water affects your home, it affects anything inside your home. Definitely devising a budget. Sit with your family at dinner, sit with your family at breakfast, and kind of talk about the things that you need, how much things will cost. Obviously, we're dealing with rising costs on all types of things, just essentials. And so you want to make sure you have the bare needs and prepare for, I would say a week or two, just have that kind of number in your head. Hopefully things come into effect and things recover a lot quicker in a couple of weeks. But in the event that it doesn't, then you're prepared.
Okay, well, it sounds like we have our work cut out for us. We're already in hurricane season, but we know at least things usually heat up more later this summer. So maybe we've got a couple months to start getting all of our ducks in a row for anyone who's not quite ready yet. But this is some great information to kind of help people get started. So I want to thank you both for coming on and talking about all of this, but also want to thank you and thank Hancock Whitney, because you guys really have been like boots on the ground helpful on so many occasions. And so we really appreciate all the ways that you've helped out our community.
Thank you, Heather. We appreciate the opportunity, and take time to go to our website or some of the local websites. I think hurricane season is upon us, and so there's great links and great articles out there that people can utilize to have their discussions at home.
Absolutely.
Yes,
thank you so much
again, Heather, for having us. Our website, hancockwhitney.com. You can find us and find out more about our great things.
Wonderful. Well, Randall and Jessica, thanks so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. And we hope we gave you some good tips on how to get started on how to financially prepare for hurricane season. We are in hurricane season. It is here. As you know, those hurricanes can sneak up really fast. So anything that you can do to start getting your finances in order now, believe me, it will save you a lot of stress. and worry and scrambling last minute, because some of these things are going to take you a little time to get those documents pulled together, maybe to do the digitizing of them, to meet with your insurance agent. You should definitely be doing that if you haven't done that yet. And remember that flood insurance takes 30 days to take effect. There are some private policies now that you can also get. Some of those are 10 or 15 days, but still you do have a little bit of a waiting period. But definitely try and start pulling those things together now so that you are ready and relaxed and not stressed out and panicking when we know that that storm might be heading our way. Okay, thanks so much for being with us, and we will see you next time here on Sullivan's